Hello everybody, today we are going to do section 8.3 areas of circles, and today you're going to be able to find the area of a circle. Area is the number of square units that it takes to cover an object. And when we think of a square unit, basically you're going to be filling these in with little squares of the unit of measure. So either little squares that are inches long, or little squares that are centimeters long, or little squares that are millimeters long that it would take to cover the object. Think about like a tile floor and all the tiles that you would put on that floor. They're all squares and they are of a specific measurement, and it's the number of those squares that it takes to cover it. That's actually what we're going to be finding. There is a formula to find the area of a circle, and this is it. A equals pi times the radius squared. This formula is located on that formula sheet that has been provided for you. But what you'll notice is, unlike circumference, area only has one formula. You actually have to know the radius in order to use this formula. The square key we're going to be using is on your calculator. If you look at your calculator, the square key is on the left column, and it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th key down. It looks like an x squared. I'm going to draw that here for you so that you can see it. And when you hit that key, the little square will appear next to the number that it is. It's important to put it in the right spot so your calculator follows the order of operations. So here for number 1 and number 2, we're going to be finding the area of the circle. And again, what we're going to try to do is cover this up with square millimeters. And the first thing that you have to figure out is what measurement of the circle were you given. And this measurement goes from the center to the outside of the circle. So this is a radius. And that's actually what we need for the formula. So we don't have to do any additional work here for number 1. The formula is A equals pi times the radius squared. Now we're going to substitute our numbers. A equals pi is approximately 3.14. The radius is 13, and we're going to square it. So we're going to type that into our calculator. 3.14 times 13, and you're going to hit that square key that I showed you a second ago and hit equals. And we're going to get 530.66 millimeters. But we're not covering it in millimeters, we're covering it in square millimeters, so we're going to have to put the little square symbol above the millimeters to indicate that we're covering it with squares of that size. And that is the correct answer. Taking a look at number 2. Again, we're going to be finding the area, so the first thing we have to look at is what were we given, and this actually is the diameter. Now, the formula for area doesn't have a diameter equivalent, so what we actually have to find first is we have to find what is the length of the radius. So to find that, we would divide this number by 2, because really what we want is we want half of it, because we want from the middle out. So 29 divided by 2 is 14.5. And now we're going to use our formula. A equals pi r squared. A equals 3.14 times the radius is 14.5. Again, make sure you're using the right number. And we're going to square that. And we're going to type that one into our calculator and hit equals. And we're going to get 660.185. And we're covering that with squares that are inches in length. So we're going to use square inches as our label. And that is the correct answer for number 2. Go ahead and pause the video and please work on numbers 3 and 4. All right, let's see how you did. For number 3, 32.6 millimeters is the diameter, so we needed to divide that by 2 to figure out what the radius is. The radius is 16.3, and we plug that into our formula and we get 834.2666 millimeters squared. That is not a repeater because it did not fill the whole screen, so that would be your correct answer. For number 4, we were given the radius, because again it was from the middle out, so the radius is 4 1/5. So we plug this into our calculators, 3.14 times 4 1/5 squared, and when you calculate that you get 55.3896 square feet. Again, remember to square the unit, because what we're actually doing is we're filling these in with little squares that are 1 foot by 1 foot long. All right, part 3, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it for parts of a circle. And the first one we look at, number 5, the part is a semicircle, which we learned the other day is half of a circle. All right, before we do the formula, we have to remember what this length is in half a circle. And again, if this was a full circle, again, you kind of look at that right there. This would be going all the way across, so this is a diameter. But we don't want a diameter for the formula, we want a radius. So if the diameter is 15, the radius would be half of that. So we would divide that by 2, and you would get 7.5 meters. And that's what we're going to plug into our formula. A equals pi r squared. But we're not finding an area of a full circle, we're finding area of half a circle. So we're going to end up dividing our answer by 2. So A equals 3.14 times 7.5 squared. Divide that by 2. And we're going to plug that into our calculator. And when we do that, we are going to get 88.3125, and that would be square meters. All right, number 6 is a new shape to us. Number 6 is a quarter of a circle, so quarter. And quarter, of course, is a fourth of a circle, so we're going to be dividing this by 4 instead of by 2 because it's fourth of a circle. But what we have to figure out, though, is what is this 12? So we kind of have to use our imaginations here and figure out if this was a real circle, what would it look like? And what would this length of 12 be? And that 12 is actually the radius. So we are given the radius when we have a quarter circle. So our formula is A equals pi r squared. Again, it's a fourth of a circle, so I'm going to divide that answer by 4. So we'll plug in our numbers, 3.14 times 12 squared, and divide that by 4. And when we do all that, we are going to get 113.04. And our unit is going to be square inches again, because we're covering these up with little squares of the given unit. And this is the correct answer to number 6. Okay, now we have a couple of word problems. Number 7 says a radio station has a broadcast radius of 50 miles. From the station, what is the broadcast area of the radio station? Again, in a geometric word problem, we want to look for the key word that tells us either what definition to use or what formula to use, and in this problem that is area. So we know we're going to be using the formula A equals pi r squared. And we have to look to see what was given. and we were given the radius, which is good because that's what we want. So for this problem, we just have to plug in our numbers. Area equals 3.14 times 50 squared. And we'll plug that into our calculator, and we will get 7,850. The label was in miles, and they would be square miles, because again, what we're calculating is how many little squares of miles will this broadcast cover, and that is the answer to number 7. Number 8, in terms of pi, what is the area of a circle with a diameter of 35 inches? Again, looking for the key word here, we have the word area. So that means we're going to be using the formula A equals pi r squared. We need the radius to do this, and it looks like we're given the diameter, so we have to figure out what the radius is. So the radius is going to be half of 35, and when you divide 35 by half, you're going to get 17.5 inches. But what's different about this problem and what's new is the question says in terms of pi. In advanced levels of math, we don't plug in 3.14 for pi because 3.14 is an approximation. It's not the full value of pi. So whenever you see this in terms of pi, what that means is keep it as a symbol. So when we go to do the problem, we're going to do A equals, we're going to keep pi as a symbol, and then we're going to plug in the length that we know is correct, which is the radius of 17.5 squared. And all you have to do here is just simplify the problem. So I'm going to put the word simplify here on the side. And we're just going to have to do this 17.5 squared in our calculator. So go ahead and type that in, and you're going to get 306.25, and that's going to be how many pi's it would take to cover that circle. And that's going to be the correct answer. Again, we're going to leave pi as a symbol. We're not going to substitute. This is more accurate. Again, in higher level maths, they don't plug in 3.14 because it's not 100% accurate. It's just an approximation. So if you're ever asked to do a problem in terms of pi, you're going to leave the pi as the symbol. All right, that's going to be it for today. We are not going to do number 9. We'll work on that at a later date. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.